something about that music, man. It just does
You
something.
see me over here grooving, right?
Yeah,
It's like, you know what? It's like if you were to have a dance party and you slow that down, like boom da dum boom 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 da dum boom 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 da dum boom boom da dum boom 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 da dum boom boom da dum boom 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 da dum boom boom da dum boom boom. But that's if you're on this low 428 frequency.
Ooh.
Now, if you're on that 528 frequency, that love frequency, it's that love frequency. It's up there. It's faster. It's like you're in a constant state of the highest peak that you can get at a 428. We're that plus some. So it's like, let's say you can get up to about, you know what I mean? So then the next thing you know, we're that plus some to where it's like we start where they peak. You see what I'm saying? That's why they will never. Let me stop. I learned my lesson about that term. Let me take that out my lexicon.
Yes. Never get to ask.
I didn't even put a dot after that shit. Let me just take that back. Let me get that out of there. I learned about. I'm a real quick story, right? I had this one chick. You remember her. You don't know her, but you remember her. Because that's when I went down to Texas.
Oh, yes.
Texas.
Yes.
And great woman, great person. And I realized that had it been anything else, like me not knowing my purpose, me not having a passion, me not seeing a vision, anything else, I would have stayed. She was willing to give me everything I wanted. She was making 6 figures and she lived in a nice apartment. 6 figures in a nice apartment that you probably pay 5 or 6 for. That lets me know that you are about it. And I'm talking about, man, like, everything was everything. Everything was good. But the truth was, I did have a passion. I did have a vision. I did have a purpose. And I had to move past her. I didn't want to because a certain special psychologist, psychotherapist, psychoanalyst in my life at a certain point in time used to tell me, one, you can't keep what you eat. You can't keep what you eat, one. I said, okay. No, what I realized after years of playing that around, you know what I mean? It's like, if you eat some food, you're going to shit it out. You eat some chicken, you're going to throw away the bone, and then you're going to shit it out. If you catch something, you caught it. You can catch water, but it's going to run out your hands just as fast as you catch it. It was the mental of me running that same phrase. One, you can't keep what you catch. You can't keep what you catch. You can't keep what you catch. I ran that through so many times as I made sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice to get where I'm at right now. And guess what? I've got to sacrifice where I'm at right now to get to the next one. You know why? Because no matter what, there's always one more rung. Even when there's no more rungs, there's one more rung. And people don't get that idea because that one more rung, that's the leap of faith. That's the jump and grab. That's the hope I catch it. That's the Neo jumping off the building in the Matrix to grab Morpheus, which was his second leap of faith. His first left him in the pavement that swallowed him up and spit him back out. But when he knew he was the one, he made that second leap, and that second leap was really his first leap as the one. We are at the stage now, and this, I'm going to get super braggadocious right now, but it's not for the ego's purpose, so I want to make sure I put that disclaimer at the bottom of the screen. This is not for egos, validation, verification, none of that. This is simply us saying we are the one. In my life, I am the one. In his life, he is the one. In your life, you are the one. So soon as you realize that, you won't need a jibber jabber. You won't need a snuffleupagus. You won't need anything that will take you off of your path. See, there is no dependency when you are truly the one. It's recognition. I recognize I need my wife to assist in getting me where I need to be at with me, so I can get to where I need to be at with everything else. That's not me depending on her. That's me counting on her to do her job while I do my job and all the different hats that I wear. This is one of my hats. I am Earth. You ever heard the term old hat? That's old hat.
Yeah, that's old hat.
That's old hat. That means that you try to put on a hat that's old, and nobody wants to see that hat anymore.
Nah, Sonny. Nah, that's old hat, Sonny. Old hat.
What we've realized here, if we weren't the one, we'd not be talking to you right now. If you weren't the one, you wouldn't be listening right now. What you are charged with doing, and I say charged, what you are charged with doing, no one else can do.
Facts.
But others can be elevated to the level to do it. So don't think that without you, it all crumbles apart. That's
Nothing
not
new under
the
the
way
sun.
this works.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun.
All in the ether.
This life you're living right now, what you think is life, what you call life, what they've told you to believe is under the term life. That's why we say life awaits. Because what you believe to be your life right now is not your life. Are you your own master? Have you mastered the attachments?
Have you mastered the art of detaching?
That was a coin. You got the heads and tails. In the center, they say the same thing. That was the coin. See, we're not here to play.
No.
We are here to edutain and have fun edutaining.
This is not a game. This is not a game.
See, we are being allotted what to give you. We are being allotted a time to do it in. We are being allotted the ability to do it through a ratio of give and take. We take enough to keep going. We take just enough to keep going. We are not gluttonous in nature. We are not gluttonous individuals. We consume and strive to not overconsume. Because overconsumption leads to over exhaust.
Gluttony.
Nas one of my favorites, calls it King's disease.
Yeah.
King's disease, which I will gladly share the definition of.
Earth and Sky Interactive people, we are interactive. We will look up something, quote sources, and basically edutain you, because you are here to be edutained. Again, we speak to what you think is your conscious mind, actually dropping seeds in your subconscious mind. So if a couple of days from now you try to figure out why in the world you know something, it's because a thought was sparked here, which is why you're here.
Historically, gout was blamed on an overindulgence in food and alcohol, leading it to sometimes be called the disease of kings.
Yeah.
But scientists eventually learned that although certain foods might exacerbate that condition, gout occurs when uric acid urate builds up in floods crystals of uric acid. Then, if it says it here, all right, then where we go, builds up in blood, then accumulate in the joints, triggering inflammation and acute pain. That's all fine and good. Let's get back to what everybody believed gout came from. Because, see, it doesn't matter what science explains it to be. Really doesn't. You know why? I had a partner who used to always smoke cigarettes, and you know what he called a cigarette? A vitamin.
Truly believed they were vitamins. Yes, he did.
A
I'm gonna
vitamin.
have my vitamins. I'm gonna go have a vitamin.
And if I could say that he will end up with cancer, thinking like that, he won't. You know why? Because people die from the vid. Even if they don't die from the vid, two things happen. One, they believed the vid was real enough to kill them and take them out. Even though it was something common that you were already dealing with and had been dealing with it, but now they gave it a name, and now you have a name to believe in, and that name to believe in is the vid. So now that vid is what takes you out. Or the vid didn't take you out, which it never really does. It was the extenuating health circumstances that you were already dealing with already.
Well, you're only about 180 pounds overweight. Your sugar's fucked up. Your cholesterol's fucked up. Yeah, your peptides are all types of jacked up, and you're not getting enough nutrients. Oh, and you're mineral deficient.
So, which leads me to the other thing that it would be. I said there were two. The second thing is when you kick the bucket, ribbit, you just get titled with it. The vid did it. Get him out of here. Another one for the vid.
Look. Exit Matrix.
Literally, people. So focus on this first part, because they always tell you what they want you to know first. Then they tell you what they don't want you to know and why then you shouldn't believe it. Historically mean his story. Collectively, gout was blamed on an overindulgence in food and alcohol. Now, just because you tell me that although certain foods might exacerbate the condition, that's the transition right there. All right, let's break this down. Historically, gout was blamed on an overindulgence in food and alcohol, leading it to sometimes be called the disease of kings. What did kings do? Eat, drink, be merry. My men, tonight we dine because we have slaughtered cross villages and we have plundered the earth. And now it all sits under between me and God of the heavens. We shall drink mead in Valhalla this evening, and we will roast with these porks and pigs, and we will then dine and make love to these women. That's what we shall do. Think about it. But what happens from there? Anything and too much of anything is a bad thing.
Well, again, once the ego is pacified, what happens then? It has no need for you until it needs to be pacified again. So at that point, now all of a sudden you've got problems. Look, the body starts to shut down because it's just like, well, ego's like, well, I'm not gonna gas you up to do something with it. Hell, I'm good. Like I'm fat, I'm married, and got a whole bunch of chicks at my disposal. Why do I need to do anything? And then all of a sudden, the subconscious mind kicks in, like, well, yeah, you did know that was a little indulgent. You get caught slipping. Yes, got to die.
So let me tell you why. This is all. Stop that! Stop that! You stop that! You're giving them too much, too soon, too quickly. Oh, wait a second. So here's. But that's the one word you got to watch out for.
The butt.
Watch out for that one word.
Doing the butt. Ow.
That's a sexy.
School days.
Excellent that notion. Put your back, feel motion.
I'm doing the butt.
So watch this. But scientists eventually learned that. So what did they learn? Well, when did they learn? Let's break this sentence down. Who did what? Scientists, what did they do?
Learned. They were learning.
And what did they learn? Eventually, that certain foods might exacerbate the condition.
Might. The key word in that whole thing is might exacerbate. They didn't say
but
it did.
Might.
But might. But might sounds like Vegemite, and unless you're from Australia, the shit tastes like garbage. I'm gonna tell you from experience, bro. One of my old bosses was from Australia.
I work in pest control. Do you know? I don't want to see what a butt mite looks like. I just I see clover mites, dust mites, bird mites. I don't want to see what a butt mite looks like.
Oh, my man said butt mite.
What's a butt mite look like? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not gonna make it through the show, man. Yes, I am. Do not say that because I already know.
But
yeah, the universe ain't playing no games with us, right? We can't play those games with the universe. We can't say crazy stuff and say, "Oh, you know what I'm saying." No, we'll be like live on air.
No. Like, oh, you manifested? Oh, yeah, I got you. No problem. I got you.
So anything I say,
cosmic erase.
So that negative thought too.
Cosmic erase.
Cosmic erase. That's what that is. That's this motion. Even if you don't see the words or hear the words, know that this is the cosmic erase right there.
Cosmic.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's good to joke and jest and edutain for the benefit of the universe to extent, get everybody right. But we got to erase some of the things we say just because in the 3D dimension, they really have so much weight with all the spells that's being cast upon you. You know what I'm saying? So when I tell you, right, scientists said they put it on the scientists, number one. Who said it? The scientists. But the scientists say. Who's they? The scientists, son. The scientists.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It was the scientists. What are you talking about? They said.
Them dudes.
So watch this, right? So they tell me that certain foods might exacerbate the condition, but here's what they say it really is. Gout occurs when uric acid, urate, builds up in the blood's crystals of uric acid, then accumulate in the joints, triggering inflammation and acute pain. All right, so basically what they explain to you is the process of it happening. They never dispelled that gout was blamed on overindulgence of food and alcohol. They not only said that in this same sentence that certain foods might exacerbate the condition, they basically just broke down what happens when it does. Gout occurs when uric acid, urate, builds up in blood crystals, and that's the process of it happening. So all you did was, as opposed to dispelling and saying, no, that's not what gout is. This is what gout is. Okay, so you told me what happens when I eat too much fucking food and drink too much alcohol and have too much fucking sex. This is Caligula happen all over again.
Oh,
all right? So you have to, people, I just showed you how you have to watch out for the words.
Breakdown dissemination.
Listen, we're called Earth and Sky Interactive. Inter. Let's look at that, right? Because once again, here's the thing, right? We don't want you to believe nothing we're saying until you research yourself. So I'm going to look at inter/definition. Inter being INTER. That means place a corpse in a grave or tomb, typically with funeral rites. That's one aspect of it. What is the meaning of the prefix inter? Inter prefix definition: between, among, together, involving two or more. That means somebody has to give, somebody has to receive, or both parties have to be actively working and witnessing together the same thing. Mutual. This is a symbiosis that we have here. Okay? So that's why this is always going to work. Notice I removed the other term that I said earlier.
Might.
That's why this is all.
but my
Look, what is the opposite of always? You get that word.
But
do you understand what I'm saying?
Might.
Right. So I had to take it back from the N word. Now that's the N word we shouldn't be using. Don't use that N word. Never. Don't use that N word. And I just said it one time, just so you know which N word I'm talking about. The opposite of that is always. That's the antonym. Is always. Now build off the synonyms for always. Okay? So all of these things that we're trying to tell you, all of these things that we're telling you, try out your vocabulary, people. That's another word that dispels the spell. Yeah, and like you'll see in this new Spider-Man this coming up, you know, a bad spell can cause a little bit of issues and chaos.
Oh,
I'm gonna shit up 3.
You can ask a certain country right now what a bad spell can do to you. Might make your whole country disappear
under the wawa.
And I'm not bullshitting. Again, people, you have to understand, they told you that things were bad because pretty much they didn't want you using them so they could use them on you. See, they realized that if you didn't practice or at least no knowledge of, you'd have no idea what they were actually doing to you or actually using against you.
Yep.
So that's why certain things have always been done. So hold on. So the Knights Templar was formed to defend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, they said that they're too big for their britches and we need to knock them down a peg. Now, here's what I find to be interesting about this.
Please enlighten me, brother.
The Knights Templar were the best of the best, the creme de la creme. They were the Delta Force of
the
that
European. They were the European Delta Force.
Okay.
We'll call it what it is. We're not gonna tell you what the Afrocentric one was, but yes, that one, yo, I'm gonna still say it right now, man. Yo, if you're a Knights Templar and you listen to this, please contact me. Get at me. Real split. Y'all created the first banking system. They created the first real banking system.
Bruh. But see, here's the thing.
I salute y'all. Shit.
They mess around and then said, oh, y'all gotta go now. Now, here's what I find to be very interesting about that fable. I'm going to call it what it is, a fable in his story. If they're the creme de la creme, and you sent a bunch of church people to get them, you sent average people to go get them,
average soldiers,
and you rounded them up and jailed them or killed them.
Or jailed and killed them.
Torture, just throw the torture in there too. Now, I don't. Is there a disconnect here, people? See, again, the snow globe was shaking and turned upside down.
It's waving, flailing hand man. It's waving, flailing hand man. You too can have the ultimate marketing device in waving, flailing hand man.
I mean, come on, people. Does that make any sense to you? But that's what was told to you and fed to you because they knew you wouldn't think like, really? Okay, if that's the case and they rounded them all up, right? Then how did they end up in the Americas? How did they end up in other parts of the world if they were all rounded up? See, again, they weren't all rounded up. All of that was a farce.
And not only that, it gave you the ultimate superstition, the ultimate superstitious day.
Oh, 13.
And it gave you $1 billion horror film industry that came off of one thing, Friday the 13th.
The day that they were all rounded up.
Yeah, thank the Knights Templar for that.
But yeah, if you notice,
sorry, the Inquisition. My bad.
Yes, the Inquisition. There's no 13th floor in any building. In any building you go in, there's no 13th floor.
Very few. Trust me.
I've never been in one. I've never been one that had more than 13 floors. We all know it's the 13th floor. It's not labeled. But when you get in the elevator, and I done been a lot of places, and I ain't never seen a 13 on an elevator anywhere. You go from 12 to 14. So again, they want to take something that was powerful, a powerful number, flip it on you. See, again, the 666 was easy because it was actually 999, but I'll go too deep and I will fuck your whole brain up. And I'm not going to do that because, look, yes. See, look, people.
666. 666. 666.
Look, you have the ability to truly write your own flow. You really do. And all the great minds have tried to tell you that basically you just got to think and grow rich. Think and grow rich. Now, you're going to have to make sacrifices. And most people aren't willing to pay the cost to be the boss. and that has nothing to do with money. So when I say that has nothing to do with money. That has
cost to be the boss.
That has all to do with you're gonna have to make sacrifices.
Look at me.
What, right? You know what I'm saying?
Know what you see.
Poster boy. But are you willing to make them? And are you willing to make them gratefully and graciously? See, because in order to truly have true wealth, you've got to know what it's like to be truly broke, poor. Because you wouldn't know wealth if you were always wealthy.
Nope.
You see, hence, notice when you're really hungry and you eat some food, you're full. Again, as above, so below, but you gotta know both. You can't know just one way because we don't live in a one-way world. We don't live in a one-way universe.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way.
And guess what, people?
Or another.
They got us. They got us. And they've been getting us for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Why? Because they said, now, here's the illy. Here's the illy. Okay. So the indigenous peoples have always used magic.
Facts.
Voodoo. Call it what you want. Supernatural. Okay. They were told not to use it. Then you have your witches. People, that had nothing to do with actually being a witch. They realized that what those women knew was their divine Shakti. They understood the divine feminine. They couldn't have them telling a whole bunch of other women about the divine feminine because basically the patriarchal society that we all used to know and love, because that shit is dead and stinking now, would have been dead and stinking back then. Because you'd have had women. Why do you think? Look, what if I told you that the hokey pokey was actually stood for hocus pocus?
I believe it.
Everything that you see is a symbol and rituals. And it's to a point now where they're doing rituals in broad daylight and people don't even know they're being done. Again, we celebrate holidays that are actual rituals. A lot of these religions actually do rituals, but you don't do
the ritual, baby.
You know what I'm saying? You don't do the history to actually figure out what you're doing because you're being led by the nose and you think that this is what you're supposed to be doing because, yes, this is saving me. No, it's actually sealing you, is what it's doing to you.
I feel the song coming on. It's all about the rituals, baby.
Oh.
It's all about the rituals, baby.
Look, Mr. Touch Button himself.
What you want to do? You want to be brawlers, shot callers, brawlers? I'm sorry.
Again,
I had to shake that one off.
You want to make that sacrifice?
You want to make the sacrifice, baby?
Go right behind that door. And then after you're done, you're going to off yourself or you're going to go find God. Because basically,
I'm going to join the church and be a preacher. I'm going to preach. I used to be a rapper, but now I'm a preacher. Before I was a rapper, now I'm a preacher.
But I'm not a rapper.
I'm not a rapper.
I'm going to end this man's whole career, but I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, people. It's just that deep because people don't realize that when they woke up and see Facebook knows what it's doing. Here's why, people. That's why positive posts don't get the likes from your friends. They get the likes when you're open to the public from everybody else. Here's why. Because basically they like to be victims. They don't realize that by posting victimizing shit that not only are they victimizing themselves, they're casting spells on themselves. So now all of a sudden, but I can't do this. But this guy, but guys are all bad. What did you just say? So now you're going to religiously say that men are all bad. So guess what? Men are all bad in your mind. Thank you. So now what you've done is cast a spell. And now you've bound yourself and don't even know what the fuck you're doing. And now you got a problem. Oh, chicks, man, they all hoes, they all tricks, they all this and that. And then you find the one. And what does she do? She gives you exactly what you asked for. A hoe. Because you said they was all hoes before.
You know she's a hoe. You rock 3 different O's after every show because she's a hoe. You know she's a hoe. So how do you know? Because I told you so.
Casting spells. Why do you think certain artists, especially in music, say some of the most outlandish shit and then disappear for a period of time? Why? Because they've got to cleanse their fucking soul. Ask Eminem, he'll tell you. He gave his power to the people. I'm whatever you call me. That man was everything but a son of God.
Andre 3000.
Thank you.
The black Eminem.
Thank you. Look, you really have to understand that, like, you wield way more power than you know. And if you are indigenous American, your power, do you ever think why one group of people gets messed with more than any other group of people? Why is that, people? Because basically they realize there's something in melanin. It's just something in it that makes you a little different. Just makes you a little different.
About the melanin, it makes me want to dance.
Now, here's the illy. Here's how bad they twisted it up on people. So, melanated people, you must hate the non-melanated people because they are the oppressor. The non-melanated are the oppressor. Okay, people, I'm here to give you a big ass jewel. Do with it what you want to. Shine it up, keep it dull, put it where the sun don't shine. I give 2 hairy rats asses. Those people look just like you. Those people were melanated people. So it was really easy to do. Because again, at that point, you actually are fighting against a foe that isn't even a foe. There's not enough of them to be a foe.
Wow.
And that's worldwide.
Testify. Good.
So,
God, they said they didn't look like me, but they did. Wow. They also said that they would come in multiples and they would be called my foes. Wow. Let me tell you, what I did see, they didn't look like me. And the ones that look like me, ooh, they tried to take me off this world.
You got done in by sexual chocolate, people. Sexual chocolate got your ass. Let me introduce sexual chocolate, everybody. Sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate.
But see, that was the propaganda. So this has been going on for a long time. A long time. And now things are coming to light. People, that's why you're having such a hard go of things, because you're actually starting to, and literally, I'm not woke. I'm gorilla.
Woke? What is that?
I'm not woke. I am gorilla. You see what I'm saying? No, you know what woke is? Woke is sleep. Flip it. Woke is sleep. You actually sleep. Because you're believing a narrative that never existed. It never existed. So basically, they've got you chasing your tail.
Trying to wake up. I'm woke. I'm wide awake. If you wide awake, the opposite that comes out your mouth is what the real is, especially when you don't believe it.
Eyes Wide Shut, great movie. Watch
Eyes
it.
wide shut. Great
Dude,
movie.
that movie is deep. Don't make sure the kiddies are in bed though.
Oh
Before you
yeah.
watch that movie, make sure the kiddies are in bed because that's definitely got some adult content. But bro, let me tell you, Eyes Wide Shut. That movie, when you read between the lines, like yo,
So when you say that you woke, you're saying that, and the more you profess it, you're saying that I am that right there. I am snoozing. And if you're snoozing, you are extremely woke. Because you're
yep.
not woke in this world, you're woke in another world, possibly dreaming.
Boom, shakalaka. Because you're now in the 90%, which is your subconscious mind that actually runs the show. That 10% is shut off, which is why they say, yep, yeah, you're dreaming. That's not a dream. You're actually somewhere else, actually living a different existence, which is why it's so vivid, which is why it feels so real, which is all of those things. Why? Because this 10%, which is why we only get 1% of the light spectrum. Why is that? Why is that?
Why is
You see
that?
what I mean? Because why do you think your conscious mind tries to block out your dreams when you wake up? It doesn't want you to know what's really going on. Because if your conscious mind actually loses control, it's a wrap. And at that point, you reach what's called an enlightened status. You end up like Buddha under the Bodhi tree, crying his eyes out. And through crying, he attained enlightenment. Why? Because he was no longer in his conscious mind. He had cried himself into a subconscious state and literally, oh, oh.
I am now awake.
And everything was different. Do you see what I mean, people? Flip it. Everything we've learned has been flipped. It's been inverted.
Right.
And it's bad. Like it's bad when like you realize that like the people who really oppress you look just like you. Like that's some things that you really like. You like really, really, really. There have been okay. So how come the history books don't teach you about Cortez?
Uh-oh.
But they'll be quick to tell your ass about Christopher Columbus, the Mason.
Yep.
But they won't tell you about Cortez, who was here way before Christopher Columbus. And that man, that was a bad man. That him and his armada. Look, when you saw him and his boys roll into town, you couldn't run far enough from them.
Joe couldn't.
They came on a mission, and it was to seek and destroy. And what they didn't destroy, they took back to Europe. And then you have the fairy tale story of, well, my name is Christopher Columbus, and I was trying to get to India, but somehow I ended up here in America. Look, it's kind of funny because if you look at it mapped the way he got here, he passed by Haiti, Jamaica, Bermuda. Guess what? Love to be the one to tell you, so I'm gonna tell you. Those people, look, yes, you're absolutely right, my good man. Those people had melanin, and they had been there for a long time. Long time. So What does that tell you? Why don't you go to your history teacher and ask him why they didn't teach you about Cortez? Because he was here first. Well, he wasn't the first one here because the indigenous peoples were here, and a lot of people came over the Bering Strait, which was connected back then. It wasn't this little bitty strip, and people used to go back and forth like it was nothing, like it was like literally like it was nothing. Depending on the season, they would go from one side to the other side, following the animals from season to season. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like, Cortez brought his slaves because he had slaves, and they were actually from Mongolia.
Hmm. Hmm.
They kind of
Uh-oh.
mixed with some other people over here, and now we have mixed peoples. Then the indigenous people started to mix with those peoples, and you wonder why you have different shades of soul now.
Well, see, let's talk about the Dr. Professor Delroy. Can't remember his full name, but he wrote a book, and one of the books that he wrote was talking about how geologically everybody was where they were supposed to be at, based off of their makeup. Okay, so looking at that aspect of it, right? Okay, I'm Caucasian. I'm in a colder altitude, higher climate. The way my nose is made is longer and narrow, so therefore it allows for cooler breathing, but not to harm and cause brain issues or mind issues based off of breathing. The skin complexion would reflect the light enough to make sure that I wasn't overindulged with vitamin D, but at the same time it worked for the climate I was in. Or if I was in a heavily vitamin D centric location, like let's say South America or Africa, you know what I
Jungle.
mean? Are the Americas? We're talking jungle, you know what I'm saying? Or we're talking open Serengeti, we're talking open area, to where the sun is plentiful and vitamin D is rich. And guess what? I need, since the air is more molecules are spread further apart. The breathing is different, so therefore I need wider nostrils. You know what I'm saying? Or I need wider nostrils, not as wide nostrils, but not as long as the nose either. You know what I mean? If I was in the cooler atmosphere. So these type of things we're talking about are just based off of, now when you start crossing over, let's say maybe during the ice age, there's some some ability to transport yourself and family members to different parts of the nation or different parts of the world based off of land masses being separate, but a bridge being put in place, like an ice bridge. All these different types of things happen. Or technology presents itself, and now the ability to travel ocean ways and different sea routes, will allow you to get to different places also, to
So,
become things.
so let me get this right. Let me get this
Okay.
right. Right. Let me get this right. So they've kind of said that they found Eden or Edon.
Edon.
That was in Africa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they say, just going off of what they say,
Okay.
they said that.
They said that, right? Okay. So if that was the case, then that meant that they were exposed to a lot of sun. You seen any melanated pictures of Adam and Eve, bro? You seen any melanated pictures of Cain and Abel? Lilith? Oh, and by the way, I'm about to really bust y'all over the head. Medusa didn't have snakes on her head. They were actually dreads, and she was melanated.
And if you don't know, now you know, Rilla.
See, again, people, actually do your research. Realize that they call it his story for a reason. Again, words, spelling, spells, his story. And they teach only one side of it because they can't teach the other side. Because if they did, it wouldn't even pull your wig back. It would literally disintegrate your whole dome. Like,
Push it back, son. Or push your whole wig back, son. Push it all the way back.
look here, man. There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of truths out there that nobody wants to talk about. And all we ask here at the Earth, the Sky Interactive is that you do your research. Actually dig deep, do your research, and you will find that, like, Europe was pretty uncivilized until one of the Moor tribes, because there were two. One of them showed up in Europe and actually taught them how to use silverware and eat off of round plates instead of square blocks of wood. Actually showed them irrigation and aqueducts. Look, people, do the research. This is stuff that they could not teach you, because if they did teach you that, you'd realize, whoa, I've been lied to. Yes, we've all been lied to this whole entire time. But see, now, in the age of Aquarius, order through chaos, you can't hide nothing no more. They kept aliens hidden forever and a day, and now all of a sudden, every other fucking news article is the military took pictures of this alien, this UFO, and now you got the astronauts taking picture of this UFO.
You got to see that series on Netflix, Declassified on Netflix. Man, if they didn't know what the Dogons knew from.
He went Dogon tribe on him. He went Nomos. Look up Nomo. Type that in your Google search, Nomo. And what you find will blow your wig clean the fuck off. I promise you. I'm like, wait a minute. So this tribe hasn't been seen, touched by civilization ever. And when they were finally touched by civilization, like you said, they knew astronomy that wasn't figured out until telescopes were made. What? So who told them that? And why did they talk about the Nomos, which were fish people who came out of the water, and they depict them literally with a fish head?
Now,
and it's kind of funny. You know whose hat looks like that?
Thank you. I was about to go there.
The Pope. But I'm going to ask y'all this question real quick. Why is it that the Pope sits in his chair, but why is there a chair above him that's empty? But why above him is a melanated Madonna? Why is that?
Why is that?
Can you yes, can you break that down for me? Because basically, I've been to churches, I've asked questions, and they didn't want to talk to me anymore. Because they were like, how the fuck does he know? Easy, man, it's in the ethers. You just snatch the shit. If you want to know, you know. We're all connected at source. There's only one. There's only one force. Only one. Again, kind of like Highlander. There can only be one because there is only.
There can only be one.
I mean, everything's got symbolisms in it because, again, your mind understands frequency, vibration, and symbols first, which is why music is so powerful. So powerful, which is why they don't want you to chant and dance, put you in a theta state, and then you start to look. The oracles of Delphi, what did they do? They dance and sway and dance and sway. And then all of a sudden they'd split out the blah 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, the oracles of Delphi, they had melanin too. Just so you know.
But if you look in 300, you have to understand, for Hollywood's purpose, they have to put these things this way. They have to make these things this way because there's a certain agenda that has to be maintained. Let's call it, for short, it's an agenda. Look, we purposely fell asleep so the world could catch up. When we awake, which is happening right now, not saying woke, when we awake, because you're either sleeping or awake, you're not sleeping or woke. You know, you wake up to awake. To be woke is the past tense of awake. You know what I'm saying? Awake, woke. You know what I'm saying? I awake, woke. So with that, what ends up happening is you have to recognize that what comes first is what you should be striving for. The awakening, the age of Aquarius, the awakening, this whole situation, the portal in the middle of the ocean on fire with no flames and no smoke, you know, the awakening, you know what I'm saying? The people coming into their own, the next evolution, the awakening, go real, life's awakening. You know what I'm saying? We can switch it up any way we want to, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a part of the awakening. And we're the journalists that are reporting that to you, Earth and Sky. That's what we do.
Notice we're jungle journalists.
Jungle journalists.
Jungle journalists. Now, we're not calling ourselves Icelandic journalists, Nordic journalists. We are jungle journalists. Yes.
What we do, folks. It's what we do.
What we do.
Thing.
Yeah,
you know why it's a thing? Because we made it a thing. It's a thing.
Created a lane and still driving that lane, gonna be in that lane and creating more lanes off of that lane. And guess what, people? Soon you too will be merging into that lane. Some of you will be forced to merge into that lane. Some of you will merge into that lane willingly. Either way, guess what? When you get there, we'll be there waiting on you.
Right on you.
So, parting shots there, Earth, parting shots.
We've already got it taken care of, man. You've already got it sewed up. Listen, we're waiting on you. Come across, you come across. When you come across, we'll be there waiting, like Sky just got through saying to you. It's nothing new under the sun. We're not trying to tell you anything that already hasn't happened or that won't happen. It's just repeating itself, and that's the cycle of life. Earth, boom. Mouth.
Well, I look, Earth said it. I have to say it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Again, we thank you for chiming in, tuning in. Look, this is part 3. We literally gave y'all 3 segments in one day. Now, if you don't realize that this is bigger than us and we are in this for y'all, then y'all that missed the boat, and that's fine, because guess what? Another boat will be back for your ass later. We didn't brought you 3 boats today.
3.
On that note, I'm good. I'm good. So
you know what I say? Earth and Sky unite. Do you see? Are you not edutained?
Are you not edutained? And on that note, I do say, peace.